July 19th, 1977, the world teacher, the Christ Maitreya, head of the spiritual hierarchy, emerged from his ancient retreat and is now in the modern world. With his disciples, the masters of the wisdom, he will inaugurate the new age of synthesis and brotherhood.
Good morning and welcome to our World Teacher programme on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM, presented by Teresa and David on behalf of Share International New Zealand.
Our programme today is about transmission meditation. We'll start with a review by Betsy Whitfill of Benjamin Creme's book titled Transmission and Meditation for the New Age. It featured in the June 2013 edition of Share International magazine and begins,
What activity could be more suitable for the Aquarian Age principles of synthesis and group work than a group meditation, open to all, that facilitates sending transforming spiritual energies to the entire world for the good of all? The primer of this Aquarian work is Benjamin Creme's book Transmission and Meditation for the New Age. It's a handbook for those ready to integrate meditation and service into their lives.
Many transmission meditation groups have already formed around Creme's historic announcement that the world teacher, awaited under different names by all traditions, religious and non-religious, and his group, the Masters of Wisdom, have returned to the modern world to teach us. In these groups, people from all backgrounds have found a door through which they can step onto a path, the life of service to the world, that at the same time transforms their personal lives.
For those approaching this information for the first time, Creme discusses concepts such as the fact of the spiritual hierarchy of masters, that all is energy vibrating at one level or another, that there is immense power in thought, that there is value in living in rhythm and with discipline, and that there is a self-created path that can open before the student. Thus, the reader can find new emphasis on the inner life just being discovered.
Through transmission meditation, one aligns with one's soul, the master within. The urge to meditate, however tenuous, Creme says, is really the soul's call for contact with the man or woman in incarnation, and meditation is the royal road to developing that contact. More than one person has wept openly with joy having discovered and experienced this new unique meditation.
To those familiar and practiced in various forms of self-improvement through meditation and yoga, Creme presents a unique enrichment, meditation as service to the world. That one can meditate and at the same time potently and positively affect the world seems unbelievable, considering that many feel quite helpless in the face of the events and trends that have led our world into the apparent chaos of life today. But, Creme writes, there is a plan, and we all can help.
In Chapter 1, Introduction, What is Transmission Meditation?, Creme discusses man's place and role in the energetically dynamic scheme of the kingdoms, from the lowest mineral to the highest vegetable, and then up the scale to the animal, human, and spiritual. Each kingdom energetically stimulates the kingdom below it.
The kingdom of souls, or as the Bible calls it, the kingdom of God, the spiritual kingdom, is growing out of the human kingdom. That is to say, a human being is not really an inert, separate, mechanical, physical entity, however wonderfully complex, but rather a spark of the divine within an energy field interconnected with all that is, including the being we call God.
We are gods in the making, gradually, through meditation and service, becoming consciously aware, more and more inclusively, of higher and higher levels of being.
Based on the fact of the soul, that divinity within, the stimulus coming from the kingdom of souls through meditation, and the fact that transmission meditation provides the technique for contact, development, and expression of that divinity on the physical plane, the reader discovers a whole new world of being and a real sense of hope and purpose in life.
That transmission meditation is unique goes without saying, for it is overseen by members of the group of Masters of Wisdom, who have guided humanity's progress from its earliest beginnings. Creme himself has spent a major part of his adult life in telepathic rapport with one of these teachers, and has travelled far and wide for decades, preparing the public for their fully physical appearance among us.
The Masters, Creme writes, know, through their own human evolutionary experience, the pitfalls and successes of all human efforts, and they are returning to public work now for the first time in millennia. If we are willing, they wish to show us the best way forward into a brilliant future, but we must be willing to follow their guidance. That way is through sharing resources and living according to the principle that humanity is one, sons and daughters of the one God.
Creme writes that transmission meditation is central to their work, for it provides the opportunity for people of every background, religious or not, to achieve a higher level of awareness by working directly with the Masters and their leader, the world teacher Maitreya, for the rescue and rehabilitation of the world.
In the chapter The Nature of Transmission Meditation, Creme writes that the transmission of energies has always been pervasive throughout cosmos. In answering questions about the kinds of energies transmitted through the groups in transmission meditation, Creme writes that it is Maitreya, the embodiment of love on earth, who receives and directs the spiritual energies from interplanetary, extraplanetary, and higher cosmic sources to one or two masters, who then send them scientifically through the chakras of those taking part in transmission meditation.
Thus, the powerful spiritual energies are stepped down until, when directed out into the world by Maitreya, they can be absorbed and used by average humanity to come together in synthesis, to cooperatively and wisely resolve problems, and to peacefully implement the Aquarian principles upon which a new civilization will be built.
The Masters know how much each person can handle and adjust the transmission accordingly. Group members have only to sit quietly, speak the great invocation together aloud, and hold a positive attention at the ajna center between the eyebrows.
In a very real sense, Creme writes, the spiritual growth, the growth in consciousness of those in transmission meditation, is safely in the hands of masters who are scientific experts. It is, he writes, a combination of Laya Yoga, the yoga of energies of the centers or chakras, and Karma Yoga, the yoga of service, that enables serious participants to advance rapidly. Transmission meditation is a hothouse of spiritual development.
The simplicity of presentation of the esoteric information given in this book is due to Creme's continuing telepathic rapport with his master, who answers the questions. It was Creme's master who initiated the first transmission meditation group in London in 1974.
Over the many decades of world travel, giving talks to prepare the public somewhat for the appearance of Maitreya and the Masters, Creme at the same time held public transmission meditations, during which time Maitreya overshadowed him and the attendees. People came and experienced the energies, and many formed transmission meditation groups in their own towns and cities.
Naturally, the questions soon arose. How long to transmit? How do I maintain the alignment with my soul? Can we do transmission regardless of our beliefs? How does transcendental meditation blend with transmission meditation? And so on.
The question and answer format has enabled readers to get answers to most of the questions that anyone might ask. Each printing has included additional questions, and so there is no mystery left in the reader's mind as to how to organise and function in a transmission meditation group.
Since Creme has encouraged individuals to form groups of 3 or more and to meet regularly for this purpose, reading this primer is essential to understanding the work and appreciating this extraordinary opportunity. It is so important that the book is posted on the Share International website, share-international.org, where visitors may download the material free of charge. Transmission meditation is, Benjamin Creme writes, truly a gift from the gods.
That concludes the book review by Betsy Whitfill. For a list of groups in your area and to find out more about this meditation or to inquire about purchasing a hard copy of this book, please phone 04 234 1133. That number again is 04 234 1133. There is also more information on the New Zealand website, share-international-nz.info. These contact details will be repeated at the end of this program.
You're listening to the World Teacher Programme on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. We'll now read a selection of question and answers from this book.
In answer to a question regarding the prerequisites for forming a transmission meditation group, Mr Creme says,
1 is a desire to serve the world, a simple altruistic motive of serving. It is not the place to seek individual guidance, contact with the astral planes, or messages of any kind. It is simply a giving of oneself in service, acting as a positive mental channel through which the energies sent by the Masters can be stepped down.
Another requirement is regularity and continuity. The group should always meet at the same place and time every week. The Masters need to know that every Monday, for instance, at a certain location at 8 o'clock in the evening, or whenever, they will find a group of individuals ready and willing to transmit the energies.
The Christ said in Palestine, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am." That is literally true in the energetic sense. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in the name of the Masters, or the Christ as the head of the Masters, to transmit energy, that energy will flow. Individually you could do it, but the beauty of group formation is that more energy can be safely put through a group than through separate individuals.
In London we meet 3 times a week and transmit for many hours, seldom for less than 4. We make it a rule that people arrive at 8 and then they can leave whenever they wish. When they leave, they go quietly without disturbing those who stay longer. Do not finish at a certain time at the behest of the least concentrated, or the one who has to leave the soonest. Start together and finish when the energy flow ceases.
However, free will must not be violated, so no one is compelled either to attend the group or to attend regularly. Gradually you will find that you begin to love it and you look forward to that day. You put that day aside. Whatever else you have to do is secondary, because that is your transmission night. Again, the prerequisites are service, regularity, continuity and commitment. You have to be committed.
Another questioner asks, please describe step by step how to conduct a transmission meditation in my home. Mr Creme replies, all you need is the desire to serve and some friends who wish to do likewise. Together, arrange a time and place at which to meet regularly. You might also invite someone from an existing group to an inaugural meeting. This person could go through the procedures with your group.
You need to learn the Great Invocation so that you can say it as a group. Then you sound aloud the Great Invocation in a focused and attentive state. As soon as you do that, you make a telepathic link with the hierarchy of masters. While saying the Great Invocation, you should hold your attention at the ajna center between the eyebrows. This is the directing center. Hold it there without any kind of strain through the transmission. It is very simple. Raise your attention until it is behind the eyebrows.
You will find that your attention may drop down to the solar plexus center. Your mind will wander. As soon as you realize that your attention is wandering, silently sound Om and your focus will come back automatically to the center between the eyebrows. Every time your mind wanders off, silently sound Om. Do not meditate on the Om, but use it to bring your attention back.
Keep your eyes closed while meditating, because it is much easier then to hold your attention at the ajna center. Throughout the transmission meditation, the holding of your attention behind the eyebrows ensures a mental focus. Do not become negative and passive, but hold a very focused, mental, positive position. You will find that the energies themselves hold your attention up.
Time goes very fast. An hour will seem like 15 minutes. Indeed, you will lose all sense of time. It's important to be relaxed, both physically and mentally. That is all you need to do. The masters do the real work.
It is not part of their plan that you transmit these energies to any particular person, group or country. For example, someone might think there's a terrible situation going on in the Middle East and that he should direct his thought to that area during transmission. This is not what is required. Only the masters know on a scientific basis what energies, in what potencies, in what balance are needed in any particular place at any particular time.
Once the group is established, the masters know exactly who you are and where you are. They see you clairvoyantly. They then send the energies through the group. It is a highly scientific process. They know what that group can take. They know which particular rays or types of energy make up the group, which rays are governing the individuals, and the manipulation of energy is in accordance with that fact. Some people will take one set of energies and some another. In this way, the masters can pour their energy into the world. They need such transformers to do it.
Question: what exactly do you mean by aligning the physical brain with the soul? Mr Creme replies, sooner or later we have to come into a state of alignment between the physical brain and the soul. That is what meditation does. By meditation you gradually build a channel called the antakarana, which is a channel of light from the physical plane up to the soul.
Simultaneously, the soul is building the same bridge down towards the physical. This channel, when formed, provides a link between the soul and its vehicle, and vice versa. This is the process whereby the man or woman gradually becomes at one with the soul. The soul grips the vehicle and reflects itself through it by the use of the mantra Om and the holding of the attention at the ajna center between the eyebrows. An alignment is created between the brain and soul.
Question: since it is not everyone's cup of tea to take part in a transmission meditation group, How do you know whether you are fit or not? Mr Creme replies, only by practice. It is really a process of self-selection. You go to a transmission group or form a group and do it a few times, and either you are attracted by it and find it useful, satisfying and really rather pleasurable, or you find it such a terrible bore that you never go back.
There is no glamour, there is nothing to talk about. There are no stories, no gurus, no devotion. It is a purely objective, scientific process. It is work, a job. You can do it in any degree of intensity, up to 3 times a week for 3 or 4 hours. Of course, not everyone can maintain that intensity or rhythm, and so it tends to be a self-selective process. Those who cannot do it keep away. Those for whom it is natural tend to be the ones who do it.
This is an act of service. It is service given to you on a plate. Many people today want to serve. People say, I long to serve, but I don't know how to begin. Well, there is a world to save. There are millions of people starving in the world. There are countless millions who are poverty-stricken, and so on. There is a whole world to change and save and transform. So you do not have to go further than next door to serve. You do not have to go further than your transmission meditation room to serve.
It is service given to you, the simplest, easiest form of service that exists. I can vouch for its effectiveness and its simplicity. But it's not for everyone, because some people want more. They want to have something to talk about. Where am I? Who am I? Does my guru love me? Does he not love me? Is he a higher or lower guru? Is he bigger or lesser than so-and-so? Do you get that marvellous feeling when he looked at you? And so on. There is none of that in transmission work. It is a pure act of service to the world, and so it tends to be self-selecting.
And another question. Does the individual experience positive effects when transmitting energy? Mr Creme answers, the Christ and the Masters now have at their disposal cosmic energies which they have never had before in a potency altogether new. Transmission work is a very dynamic process of sending these energies to the world. You cannot do it without receiving them through your centres, which are charged, activated and heightened in their activity as a result.
When the Masters measure advancement, they look clairvoyantly into the world. They do not look into your thoughts to see if you are thinking good or bad thoughts, not at all. They see an individual's inner light, a dim light or a bright one. When they see a steady, brilliant light, they take interest in that individual.
They look at the state of the centres to assess his or her exact point in evolution. They can tell at a glance which centres are open or activated, how much they are open, whether they are spinning fast or slowly, and in which direction, the colours they emit, the quality of the aura, and so on. They can then evaluate the individual accordingly.
In transmission meditation, the Masters choose the amount of energy for a particular person and they send it through you. You can understand how potent the transmission of energy from them can be. I do not know of anything which is more potent from the personal evolutionary viewpoint.
It is a hothouse, a forcing process. In a year of this transmission work, you can make the inner growth resulting from many years of other forms of meditation. There are a great many meditations and yoga techniques which aim at the same stimulation of the centres, and, while they may have value and relevance, they can be dangerous unless they are done under the guidance of a master. Transmission work, on the other hand, is always done under the supervision of the masters and is perfectly safe.
Last question. As you continue to do transmission work, does your environment change as you do? Does it evolve as you evolve?
Mr Creme replies, necessarily so, because you become more radiatory. You radiate a higher frequency of energy and therefore have more impact on your environment. That impact can be for either good or ill, depending on the motive.
If you are taking part in transmission work of this kind, your motive will be one of service to the world, and will inevitably have a beneficial effect on your environment. That's not to say that your environment will necessarily respond to it in a positive way, because it will produce change. Every inflow of higher spiritual energy produces change in the recipient. That is how evolution proceeds, by the nourishment from the kingdom above of the energy which produces the mutation, which produces evolution itself.
So those with whom you live and work will certainly notice a change in your makeup. Those who enter meditation sometimes change profoundly, depending on their character and on the depth to which the soul has penetrated into the individual. You will notice too a build-up of energy in the room and house in which the transmission takes place.
And that's our program for today. If you have any questions or would like to know more about the World Teacher Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, please call us on 06 3646 101. That's 06 3646 101. Or visit the website share-international.org, where you'll find more information on the various aspects of the emergence.
To inquire about Share International magazine subscriptions, books by Benjamin Creme, or our monthly free of charge newsletter, which contains extracts from the current Share International magazine, the number is 04234 1133. That number again is 04234 1133, or write to P.O. Box 9576 Wellington.
Thank you for listening to us on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. And please tune in to our next World Teacher program on Saturday the 3rd of August at the usual time of 10 a.m.
You can listen again to this program and previous ones by visiting our website at share-international-nz.info and click on the radio tab.